Hey again, YouTube, Nut Job with Machete back. I'm going to stay sitting here because I'm currently wrapped in a towel, but I need to tell you guys this fucking story. Yeah, and if you hear noises in the background, I'll explain them as we go. Want to see something really cool? First, let's talk about this fucking thing. So you guys know that sometimes I'll go out on a mission and have to do something, right? So my wife wanted to get me something special, and she got me, well, she had her parents contact someone they know and make a custom Bowie knife for me that was going to kind of meet all the sort of specs that I usually have to deal with. Cold iron, silver, sometimes copper, still be really sharp. It's not etched, but it is blessed. I usually will do smudging on all my stuff, and then blessed anointing oil, which I get from 3 different sources, so I kind of merge them together. Shit like that actually tends to work. Anyways, this fucking thing. You'll see that I've been working with Damascus a lot more, and part of it is because I can get it, and part of it is because when I'm making something for myself, I was trying to do something like this, and I fucking suck because I don't actually have a forge. I have to go to a place, and I get like 2 days there, and I'm not very good at forging. That's why I do a lot of my stuff with material removal. Anyways, this fucking thing. Silver, nickel, 5920, I think. Some copper, which I don't think is going to show up. You can kind of see a little bit of the copper running through. And of course steel and some cold iron. And I guess, so Nikki's folks are red in, and my wife's a witch. So that, in case you kind of wonder where I get some of my other stuff. Yeah, my wife's a witch. And I guess the guy that her folks reached out to told them this was dragon bone. And I think he charged them appropriately. So, yeah, anyways. This is not dragon bone. It is bone, but not dragon bone. Anyways, this fucking thing. Why am I bringing it up? Why am I sitting down? Why are you hearing noises in the background? Well, I'm wearing a towel. You might actually see Snickers come join me because she likes sitting on my lap. I'm having a drink. I had a smoke. I had to shave off my beard. Didn't have to worry too much about my hair because today I learned that Vodniks can breathe fire. What the fuck is a Vodnik? Slavic. If you've ever, so I'm glancing over at my video games. If you've ever played Witcher and you've had to deal with the drowners, those are Vodnik. They're, like, you can find them in Czechoslovakia. Trying to remember, in Prague, you can find them in the Prague. You can actually find some of them on the Danube. Vodnik are, they are drowners, but typically what they'll do is they'll, like the whole folklore behind them is kind of odd. Sort of drown souls, but they drown souls. So, oh yeah, all the stuffies. Cat's toys, my wife's toys. And, alright, fucking deer. Alistair. Anyways, yeah, so they're not something I would normally have to deal with. Remind me to tell you about the Rusalka in Kettle Point. I don't like open water. I really don't like open water. I'm a landlubber. I grew up mostly landlocked. Most of my time on the water is in lakes, on rivers. I'm scuba certified, but only down to 60 feet, which is fine for like rivers and stuff like that. I love how I'm pointing towards my nearest river. It's fine for rivers and stuff like that. It's fine for I used it when I used to do landscaping on really high-end golf courses. They'd want the balls retrieved from the water hazards, which 9 times out of 10, if you see a water hazard on a golf course, it's also a reservoir for water in the golf course. They pump into those reservoirs, da 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 da. So if those get sucked into the pumps, you're kind of fucked. But you can get a bunch of them right by the inlets. So, yeah. I like canoeing. I like kayaking. I love kayaking, actually. But open water, don't like. Rusalka, I'll tell you about that someday. Anyways, this Vodnik. So, this one actually didn't come through the normal sources. There's a captain, former captain, who was stationed in Germany at the Rock. And so Leo ran into some weird shit out there. Man, some of the German monsters are kind of fucked up. Anyways, ran into some shit out there, so he got read in, and he's part of the RCMP here. And so he got a report of bodies. Now, that's typically how shit happens. Bodies or shit's missing, da 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 da. You know, I usually have to go to a location and find out about stuff. But, alright, let's get into what it's like outside right now. It's raining cats and dogs. It has been the wettest spring and summer in Alberta in a long time. We normally, that noise is the washer, which is why, yeah, anyways, I'll get to that in a sec. I should get up and put stuff in the dryer, but I'll wait until after the story. Anyways, hey buddy, sniffing me because I smell funny. So yeah, I get a phone call about bodies, and with this rain happening, like lawns are flooded. You know, fertilizer companies can't put shit down because it washes away, all that stuff. Like it's bad. Well, the river is also up about 1.5 meters. Now, North Saskatchewan River is it can be a fairly fast flowing river depending on where you are on it. Hell, some rivers can get insanely fast. Remind me to also tell you about the ghost of Fort Capel. Anyways, I can hear Snickers and Tanger sniffing my shoes, which are hanging to dry. Anyways, river's up, so there's been some people that have been slipping into the river and stuff. But it also means the river's up a lot closer to where, like in the Edmonton River Valley and the Calgary River Valley, they have the Red River. And all these other areas, there's walking paths along a lot of the rivers. But with the water level having been down so much for the last few years, you know, people haven't really necessarily. You guys are weird. The cats are just, yeah, they're sniffing my shoes. Anyways, the paths are normally far enough away that you wouldn't really have to worry about something like a Vodnik. Well, the paths are like 1/2 meter away now. And one of the ways Vodniks usually get people to come towards the water so that they can grab them and drown them, they used to do it with young women a lot, especially back in the old country, with like ribbons, red ribbons and stuff like that, or beautiful color ribbons. And, you know, they look like they're just caught on cattails or on this willow that's over this, you know, stream. Yeah, stream's a little small, but, you know, fast-moving water. And then the young ladies would reach out, and then the Vodnik would pull them under. Nary a sound kind of thing. Well, a couple of bodies turned up downriver, and Captain Leo apparently kind of figured out what it was. Something was drowning these people, because every single one of them had a bruise somewhere on their upper body. Like usually it was on their arms, on their upper arms. Most of them didn't actually have much water in their lungs, but a Vodnik drowns you. It drowns you very quickly. Some people will think they're kind of like a kappa, but what a kappa does, and I've dealt with kappas, you can give them cucumbers, honestly. You can usually appease them. And kappas are actually surprisingly placid compared to certain things. But Tang, what are you doing? Tang. Tang. Hang on, cat's being a dumbass. Be right back. Yep, I'm wearing a towel. You'll have to speak up. I'm wearing a towel. Let me just move this then, dumbass. Here, see? It's all fine. You're a dumbass. Yes, you're both dumbasses. A receipt. He was confused by a receipt. Anyways, now Stickles will want to play with that. So yeah, Vodnik usually grab kappas. You don't necessarily drown. A kappa like stealing your soul, sort of. It's like an orb of your soul out of your butthole. But if you dry out a kappa's, the dish on a kappa's head, it'll kill them and the souls kind of go back. You can also, the kappa I had to deal with, you could basically trade cucumbers. I had a cube van full of cucumbers, whole variety by the way. I cleaned out Real Canadian Wholesale, H&W, and a whole bunch of other produce places, including Chapman's and a few others, of cucumbers, filled this cube van, backed it up to the water, and the kappa basically released the souls. Normally what they eat are souls, but they'll eat cucumbers. But yeah, Vodnik drowns you really quickly. It's sort of like, it's almost like a dry drowning. So these bodies that Captain Leo found didn't really fit. So he knows me, so he reached out. And I got the message, and honestly, I had just gotten this fucking thing. Maybe I'll name it this fucking thing. And so I grabbed this. I grabbed machete, a blessed club of white oak, because even though he knew pretty much that it was a Vodnik, there's like, what is the other one? There's like a Vodin, regional differences, right? And hell, like it could have been even a siren or something like that. So I grabbed pretty much everything I needed. Knew it wasn't going to be a Rusalka because they hate fresh water, and the North Saskatchewan is like 99% fresh water. It's silty and treated and stuff like that, but if you're downstream from Edmonton, you have some waste, some treatment in it. If you're upstream from Edmonton, you've got some agricultural waste, but you know, basically, it's fine. Come here, buddy. I don't know if you guys can hear him. Come here. This is Tang. He's being a butt. Hi. Why don't you go up here? Go on up there. He likes towels. That's why we put this towel down. Yeah. Butt scratch. Anyways. Put my head right into his ass. I am not a kappa trying to steal your soul. Yeah? Gonna be a good boy? Long cat. I have a cat scarf with his tail up. Good boy. Anyways. You know what's really funny? Videos with him in it get more views. Anyways, so I go to the site and there's 3 or 4 bodies, and it's young people. Not just young women, but there's young men, young women, at least one body of indeterminate gender. And yes, they're, you know, they're drowned. And so we kind of take a look. And an autopsy's already been done on another one that was earlier in the week, right when this really started kicking off. Thunderstorms, rain, like we have had inches in the last couple of days. And, you know, they're roughly dry drownings. And typically you'd see that maybe if someone was dumping bodies. But all these bodies showing up at one spot is just outside of Edmonton. And so it's at this kind of like really sharp bend, so you tend to get a lot of debris that'll actually go to the outside of the bend. Anyways, pull up there, start rooting around, taking a look at things. Okay, it's there's definitely something drowning it, and there's bruises. Now, a couple of them, it looks like both arms have been grabbed, but Vodnik are pretty strong. They're kind of frog-like. I don't have any frog stuff, do I? No frog stuff. Yeah, whatever. For being French and having the nickname of frog for a little while. Whatever, I don't have frog stuff. But humanoid, bulbous eyes, kind of frog-like, sort of. They look like a crushed amphibian. If you took a crushed amphibian and overlaid that over me, it's roughly what they look like. So we went a little bit further into Edmonton, further into the city, and two guys walking in the path, not all that abnormal, umbrellas and stuff like that. Two guys going out enjoying a wonderful little walk, that kind of stuff, right? Taking a look at nature, looking at the pussy willows and just random shit that's along the riverbed. Tang's taking over his sister's spot. Anyways, walking along, and we probably walked for like 5 kilometers. Like, my legs kind of hurt. It was cold, drenched to the skin already. Our umbrella is actually a self-defense umbrella, a mahogany base with a little silver button on the top, or on the bottom, right on the very bottom, as a skull crusher, steel tip, carbon fiber reinforced ribs, Kevlar bi-weave on the top. It's really ripstop fabric. That shit's not going to stop a bullet. I am not, what was that movie, Kingsman? I am not a Kingsman. But the fucking thing was a couple $100. The core is fiberglass reinforced and carbon fiber reinforced. And basically you can drive like a 5-ton over it and it won't bend. Great for this kind of shit. So we find this one spot, and we're both looking around, and typically a Vodnik's going to be in the water, like in the reeds kind of thing. And not like at a restaurant in the reeds, but yeah, you're in the reeds. And we're walking along, and it's 5-6 kilometers in, and I glance down and I see, I'll just use my phone case, but basically there's like an iPhone sitting there. Newest iPhone, newest Samsung. Vodniks have evolved. And I point and I look and I pretend at this point that, oh, wonderful. I'm wearing a long coat, soaked to the skin already. This long coat nicely hides. I think I'm going to name it this fucking thing. This fucking thing. Right here. And so I've slipped it out, and I'm reaching for it, and Cap plays it up a little bit. Oh, be really careful. And the fucking Vodnik grabs me. No bruise on the arm. Why? This fucking thing. I actually really like this thing. I'm going to engrave it with some runes just to make it a little bit more effective. But this fucking thing, into its forearm, just before it closes in on me. I have always been a counter boxer. Counter striker, the whole kit and caboodle. Typically someone wants to go for a takedown, that's when I'm able to strike. Someone goes for a punch, that's when I find the opening. It's just how I trained my entire life. So I have the snap reactions of a fucking shark at this point, and I stab this thing through. The thing to know about Vodniks, even with something like this, something really special, if you've ever dealt with frogs, let's say you've gone frog gigging and you've had to skin a frog, you know that skin is really kind of a little rubbery. Vodniks are that, just bigger. So it should have gone right through the middle, kind of skidded off a little bit, and then went a little off in between. Just hit, and I can't remember what the name of this bone is. Just hit it as it went through. and the arm gets dragged back down, and so do fucking I, because I'm gripping this. Normally, I don't like sub-hilts. This one's big, so I can get the one finger, but when I'm thrusting two finger, I'll do one back here, one up on the, and so boom. I literally grab in, finger into the choil, sub-hilt, and I get dragged. Which would normally be fine. I'm okay in water. I can swim just fine. But when I'm fighting a froggy thing, it's a little fucking irritating. So I get dragged into the water, and it's cold. Now, the only thing worse would have been like wintertime. And I have been in the North Saskatchewan in the winter. I've done polar bear dips. They fucking suck. Hello, Snickers. Come here. They fucking suck. Usually you're instantly. This water was just about that cold, and I got dragged in head first. I had just enough time just beforehand. Ice. Snickers. So I had just enough time to suck in a little bit of breath, clamp my mouth shut, close my eyes for a second, and open them up under the water. And I still had a death grip on this, and the Vodnik started to pull back. Cap has a gun. You don't shoot at water. Typically, you'll get some really weird cheetahs going into the tripod case. You'll get some really weird ricochets off water. Like, bullets and water do some weird shit. So he doesn't pull out a pistol, which was smart. But he did have a shotgun on him. Vodniks are... Typically, you can burn them. Silver doesn't do shit to them, really. They're really just big, strong amphibians. You don't need a blessed blade or anything like that. I just happen to have this on me. Underwater, wood club, not really going to do much. They're wood. They tend to float. Even my white oak and... what's that other one made of? Oak, ash, hawthorn. They're all going to float. And sure as shit, one in my pocket starts floating up. And just kind of bobs to the surface down. Probably down 2 meters, 3 meters at this point. Getting near the bottom where it just starts to drop off. Because the North Saskatchewan is a very deep valley. And then very deep valley, and then you get to where the river is, and it gets, in certain areas, very, very deep. 60 feet, yeah, ish. They used to run a paddle boat up and down the North Saskatchewan River until I think the ice took it out. I'm not sure. Sorry, she's really cute in the tripod case. So I'm underwater, Cap's up top. I thankfully pull and just start stabbing. Now, fighting underwater, I'm not a frogman. I am not a frogman. Seals, you fuckers are nuts. But typically fighting underwater, if you're fighting with a blade, this is narrow. You're not going to do this. This doesn't, like, you get so much drag, but you can still stab. And I've grabbed right around here on him. Now, there's no real neck on a Vodnik. They're sort of like that. And his arm's already bleeding. So he's grabbed this arm. I've grabbed him as best I can. Fucking slippery fuckers too. They don't slime up, which is really nice. Dealing with slimy things is not fun. And I'm just shaking. It swims up and starts going downstream. So I surface immediately. Still holding this, which, as it turns out, this handle actually floats a little bit. So I could have let it go and it would have floated like this. And I found that out afterwards. That would have been real nice to know then, because I would have just let it float up to the surface. And then it just would have gone downstream a little bit. I probably would have lost it though, so maybe I should paint it with something. Anyways, I get to the surface and Big gasp of air. And I haven't really left the weeds too much because the cattails, like they're 2 or 3 meters wide, and I start lumbering back to the shore, drenched to the skin. Socks are soaked, shoes are soaked, underwear is soaked, everything soaked. So I get out, I've thrown my umbrella down, pick it up, no point, close it up, not even gonna rattle it off. That umbrella actually has this wonderful little case that I can carry, so I sling it on my back. It's drying out over there, underneath the heated ducts. Cat laughs, and we start running downstream. Now, Vodnik bleed purple. It's fucking dark now, but it took me like an hour and a half to get back home. But the purple kind of sits on the top of the water, so we can follow it. Running. I don't know how many kilometers I ran today. Felt like another 20, but you're freezing cold. Honestly, it warmed me up for a little bit, but that was about it. Still cold, shivering. Go down, and we can see that fucking purple, almost like oily, goes off to the side a little bit. And we go over there, stock up, Cap shoulders his shotgun. Vodnik is sitting there. Stab wounds all over the chest, stab wound in his arm. I took out one of its eyes, apparently. And it turns at us, and Vodnik's breathed fire. I still have my eyebrows, but I lost half my beard. And I'd been growing this out for a couple of weeks. So, yay. I go ass over tea kettle backwards. And you can hear the steam coming off my coat, off my shirt, different shirt. It is that fucking hot. Like, it is fireball. Little fucker cast fireball kind of shit. And it's just jet of steam. And then I guess it needs to breathe or something like that before it can do it again. Cap doesn't even fucking wait. Pulls the trigger. Not double aught buck. Slug, dragon's breath. Slug, dragon's breath. Normally, by the way, civilian weapons in Canada, hunting rifles and shotguns, only have 5 shots. Nope, now he is. Another dragon's breath after that, and another slug. Just, he's working that action. Bang, boom, boom, bang, boom, boom, bang, boom, boom. Just the whole time. Like, if it had been slam fire, it would have been funnier, but just, like, I've never seen anyone work the action that fast on a pump. Vodnik head. All explodey. I know these things can heal, but typically, if you take the head off something, it's not going to come back. But fuck it. I walk over, and I took out its heart. Far as I'm aware, with Vodnik, Drowners, Voden, all the rest of them, set them on fire usually works really, really well. Burn them. That works with a lot of things, though. Take the head off. That works with a lot of things, too. I know that certain things take out the heart, pierce the heart. With vamps and stuff like that, that only works to slow them down in some instances. Depends on the species. Like I said, go ask your local Striga if you want to talk about Strigoi again. I don't want to. I want to keep drinking. So, soaked to the skin, half my beard burnt off. Cap gets the kill. Take the body, and we drag it. I always have something on me, like a pack or something like that. This case, it was a little messenger pouch just under here. Garbage bags, things like that, I'll usually carry them. They're handy for like bushcraft and stuff like that. Like, I've survived in cars just using garbage bags to make like little insulating, almost like a tent inside of a car in the middle of fucking winter. Or if I had to be by a tree the time my skidoo crapped out, I had garbage bags and stuff it, like put it over top of me like a poncho, pulled my knees up, and then stuffed dry leaves and stuff like that in there to keep the wind from cutting in. So I've got some not carpenters, landscape bags, the big ones. Put the Vodnik in that. I mean, carry it. And it had to look nuts, but thankfully, Cap still had his badge on him. And we walk. It probably was only another kilometer or so. I think we chased that Vodnik almost to where the bodies ended up. He was just going with the river. We get there, and I sit the fuck down. Cap has already called people because my phone, the official phone, went in the water. It's waterproof to a point. So he's made the call. I pull up my phone. It's powered off. Whatever. It's sitting in a bag of rice right now. I'm like, we're not going to deal with this. I ended up emailing my report in anyways. Cap literally looks at me. He knows what it is. Doesn't know necessarily how to dispose of it or anything like that. So I was like, all right, well, we just burn it. Like, its heart's gone. Its head's gone. It hasn't regenerated anything. Burn the corpse. These unfortunate folks slipped into the river and drowned. MCB would be proud. I don't like obfuscating stuff like that, but who's going to believe this? Like, you guys, y'all barely even watch this. I know most of you don't believe it, which is great, because I really don't want you guys to go out and try and find this shit. Fuck, if anyone ever actually finds a dragon. Definitely not dragon bones, let's just say that. But yeah, so gasoline, diesel, some pine boughs and stuff like that just to take off. The ground was soaked, but we got it going, got it burnt. Smelled. Alright, I'm not Cajun, I am Acadian. I have had frog, I've had turtle and a few other little things. Gator was actually really tasty. Used to be a really nice restaurant that did gator balls. Insert joke here. But yeah, it smelled like frog legs. It smells like you were roasting a frog. And yeah, that was the end of the evening, except couldn't get warm by the fire. So as soon as I got home, stripped everything off. Soaked still. Only thing I got is my jacket has a dry spot right here. All the leather and everything is actually dried out on it. So that's going to be going to a friend of mine tomorrow for treating with waterproofing and a few other little things. It's currently hanging up. And that ding dong that you heard, that was the wash cycle from my clothes, because I needed to have a hot shower and get rid of the rest of the beard, because it really looked, it's pretty much here. Oh, you can kind of see some of the red from the burn, but it's kind of like here. And I could see a little bit. But yeah, the rest of it needed to come off. I wasn't just, it basically left me with, you know, the Nope Ocean guy's mustache here and the rest of my face. So, yeah. Anyways, that's about it. What do you think? Think I should name this fucking thing? I've been watching Physics Duck a lot, just because I'm starting to get interested in certain projects and stuff like that I feel like doing. Need some upgrades at the farm. Looking into doing a few things out there, solar panels, a few other little things. So I've been watching him and this fucking thing. So it was kind of fun. Anyways, that's it. As always, thank you so much for watching. Feel free to share this story if you want. I really wish I could turn the camera, but I'm visible. She is so cute. Maybe I'll go up that way and turn it. Let's see. Cuckoos. Yep, she's asleep in there. I'm not going to disturb her. Anyways, guys, remember, Canada's great. except for the zombies and apparently the Vodniks and Volkodlaks and Perkele. That's a nice little callback. We'll end on that, guys. Perkele. Bye.